What is going on, everybody, and welcome to this Thursday edition of From the Bench. This is our second ever episode. We're going to get right into it. Today we're going to go over some things about Arkansas, what Tennessee needs to do in Fayetteville in order to win that football game. We're going to talk about some of Arkansas's key players who the Volunteers need to keep in check in order to win this football game. And we're also going to take it back, look at some of the throwback games that ended in dramatic fashion between the Razorbacks and the Volunteers in history. We're going to go through the 2002 game where we ended up winning in 6 overtimes thanks to a man by the name of Jason Witten. I'm sure most Volunteer fans know that name. And we're also going to go over the 1998 game, the old stumble fumble. Again, most Volunteers are going to know that. Billy Ratliff recovered the fumble that basically kept our playoff hopes alive. Billy Ratliff is also going to join the show to let us know what he thinks about the game this weekend. He's also going to walk us through his famous play and just give us insight, his point of view of what happened. So that's going to be awesome. That's going to happen later in the show, but let's get right into it. Arkansas is a good football team. The record may not show it, but they're a good football team. They're 3-2 right now with losses to Oklahoma State and Texas A&M, both top 25 teams, or were top 25 at the time. I don't know if Oklahoma State is ranked after they just got smacked last week by Kansas State, but they were ranked when they beat them. Arkansas did everything they could possibly do to lose both of those games. They played Oklahoma State in the second week of the year. They played a great first half of football and a great, really, third quarter for the most part. That game ended up going into overtime. They did everything they could do to lose that game. They were struggling with cramps from their star running back, Jaquindon Jackson, who we'll get more into later. They were turning the ball over, fumbling it, throwing picks, you name it. They were doing it. They did not want to win that football game. Bad penalties, everything. They just kept shooting themselves in the foot. I think Sam Pittman's a good football coach over that Arkansas. He's on the hot seat, so he needs a win. Like, Arkansas is going to come out guns a-blazing. Like, this is going to be a crazy environment, I think. Arkansas has an underrated fan base. They've got a good fan base. It's going to be a hostile environment. 7:30 Eastern time on ABC. Primetime SEC football. This is one of the bigger games Arkansas has had in a while. Like, that game's going to be loud. It's going to be a real test for Nico and company. We're going to see how we fare against them, though. But back to Arkansas. Last week, they traveled to Kyle Field at Texas A&M. A&M was ranked. They needed this win. Especially, again, Sam Pittman needs a win like this. They did everything they could do to lose that game. They did not score a touchdown in the second half. They scored both of them in the first half. And they just simply, they had a chance to win the game. They had a drive to go win the football game, and they just couldn't make something happen. Taylor Green had 3 turnovers. Their quarterback transferred from Boise State. Big old boy. He's about 6'6", 6'7". Not really big, but stout, tall. He had 3 turnovers. We'll talk about Taylor Green. Like I said on the last episode, I feel like he's going to be a sample size to what Jalen Milroe can be. Just in the sense of a dual threat. We're going to have to – Taylor Green's favorite word is off schedule. He loves to get out of the pocket, extend plays with his legs. He loves to go get yards on the ground, but he also loves running sideline to sideline and just throwing it up. Against Texas A&M, their lonesome touchdown, passing-wise at least, was a scramble drill. Taylor Green rolled out and found – a receiver 75 yards down the field. Well, he didn't throw it 75 yards, but it ended up being a 75-yard touchdown pass. Not because of bad coverage by Texas A&M per se, but Taylor Green made a play with his legs, and you're just asking way too much trying to cover for that long. Like, no one's going to cover a receiver for that long, and he found open space, and they made a play. So the Vols are going to have to definitely keep those legs in check. I'd let him get his rushing yards. Like, let him run and hit him hard. I know Jacoby Thomas loves to find a guy and hit him hard. Boo Carter does too. We got a lot of guys. Keelan Peely loves to. Arian Carter, and so forth. We love to hit. Let him get out of the pocket and try. I'm not saying just let him run all over us, but you can live with his rushing yards. Like, this is a good football player. He's going to make plays. He's an athletic freak. But don't let him run back and forth and try and make a play down the field. That's what we got to limit. We've struggled with dual threat quarterbacks under Josh Heupel. Obviously, that's not really Josh Heupel's fault per se. But what's different about this team, as everybody knows, is we have a defensive line, and it's the best in the country. And the last few years, we've never had that. Like, what it seems like is we've just depended on a few guys to make plays. Like, we are 12 deep now. So those big guys are going to be rested, hopefully. We need really a coming out party for James Pierce. Obviously, he's still a great player. He's leading the team in pressures, in QB, or maybe it's either pressures or hurries. I can't remember. That's kind of the same to me. But he's obviously a great player, but we need him to get home. He's been home, and he can't make the play. He can't bring him down, but hopefully he does this week. Taylor Green's a good football player, and he's going to want to get out of the pocket and make plays. Arkansas has run the ball really well, like I said with Taylor Green, but Jaquindon Jackson, the Utah transfer, is leading the SEC in rushing yards right now. I think it's 509 yards. He's got 9 touchdowns on the year. He has been playing as like one of the best running backs in the country, and in the SEC, obviously. Like, he's a good football player. He had his worst game last week against Texas A&M. Found the end zone once, but he only had 10 carries for 37 yards. Not a very good game by Jaquindon Jackson, averaging 3.7 yards a carry. He didn't fumble or anything. He didn't turn the ball over. Taylor Green had all their turnovers. He had a pick and 2 fumbles. But Jaquindon Jackson, not the game that he's used to having. Their best receiver is Andrew Armstrong. He's a big body. Not really big, again, but he's tall. He's 6'4". I think he's like 202. So he kind of reminds me of the build, like a little shorter version. I say shorter, but it's 1 or 2 inches, of Dante Thornton last year. Obviously, Dante Thornton has come into his build. Like, I think he's framed out now. He's a big boy now. One of my buddies saw him at the mall the other day and was like, he's a big man. But he's a good player. He had his coming out party, like I just said we need James Pierce to have. He had his coming out party against Oklahoma State. He was good last year, but now he's the guy. He had 10 catches for, 164 yards against Oklahoma State. Great game. He's yet to find the end zone this year, but that could mean he's due for one. But we're going to have to keep him in check. I think Jermod McCoy can more than do that. I think Jermod McCoy is the best defensive back in the SEC. One of, if not the best. I don't know. I can't say I know who the best. I know there's a lot of good DBs around. And I don't count safeties as DBs. Like, obviously, Malachi Starks is a better football player at Georgia than Jermod McCoy. But anyways, I think Jermod McCoy can definitely handle him. They've got a good offense. It's going to be the best offense we've seen all year, just because we haven't really seen a good one. We have all the stats of the best defense in the country, and maybe those offenses aren't bad. Like, I take that back. UTC's not good. Kent State's not good. Obviously, those cancel out. Grayson McCall, good Lord. I mean, we thought that was going to be our biggest test by now, but he didn't turn out very well. Oklahoma, I never thought Jackson Arnold was that good. Like I said last episode, they obviously were not a very good offense. That first half that Oklahoma put on display offensively was one of the worst halves of offensive football that I've ever seen a ranked team play, outside of maybe Notre Dame against Northern Illinois. Anyways, I just don't. We're going to be tested. This is going to be our first real test. It's going to be a test for Nico on the road because their defense is not bad. They've got one of the better edge rushers in the country in Landon Jackson. Huge, a mammoth of a man. He is 6'7". I think he's like 280. He is a big boy, but he's quick off the edge. He's got quick hands, quick feet, good football player. We should, get Lance Hurd and John Campbell back this year, which is going to help a lot because I love Dane Davis, but boy, was he getting worked against Oklahoma. It was rough. But we should get the tackles back, which should help that. A&M ran the ball all over them this past week, which is, I think, what's going to happen for us. I'll get into that in a minute when I talk about our prediction. But I think it's Le'Veon Moss, the running back for Texas A&M, just got downhill between the blocks and just churned up yards last week. And that's ultimately what beat them. Obviously, A&M is playing with their backup, who I think is better, Marcel Reed from Tennessee, actually. he's got legs too. They struggled to stop the run last week, so hopefully we can take advantage of that. Obviously, Dylan Sampson is playing like one of the best running backs in the country. He would probably be the best running back in the country in any year that Ashton Jeanty is not playing because, oh my word, he is putting up high school numbers over there at Boise State. But I think we should run the ball all over them in the second half. I think we're going to come out a little shaky. Like, this is going to be a good football game in the first half, but I think we start pulling away. I think it's going to be a little bit of like Oklahoma in the sense of we're going to pull back the range. We're going to trust our defense. I think we're going to win by about 17-14. I think the spread was 13.5 at the time of this recording. Let me see if that's right. I think that's right, yeah. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, that's right. 13.5 at the time of this recording. So I think we cover. I also think that we beat them about, I think it's going to be about 37-21, somewhere around there, 38-21. I think we're going to get up about 24 and start just running the ball. It's not fun to watch, but it's good coaching, whether you like it or not. It keeps your quarterback from getting hurt. It keeps, because the blueprint's out on Georgia and the blueprint's out on Alabama. People still haven't seen our passing game get opened up. Excuse me. So I think it's going to be about 37-21, 38-21, something like that. I think we cover. I'm taking the over on the over/under. I think it's at 56.5. I think that gets beat, not by much, but I think it gets beat. I think it goes over. I'm sorry. But yeah, that's a little bit of an overview of what's to come this weekend. Oh, and Danico Slaughter. I liked him when he was here. I don't know if we're missing him right now. He's a good player in the secondary for Arkansas. A pretty good player. He's one of their leading tacklers this year, actually. I don't know if we're missing him per se. Jacoby Thomas has been great. From what I think he deserves more reps. Will Brooks has been pretty good. Obviously had that pick 6 against NC State. Andre Turrentine's been good. Obviously, Jermod McCoy has been what we needed him to be, and then some. He's the top-rated DB in the SEC, or at least he was last week. I don't know if the bye week affects that. But yeah, I think we go into Arkansas, we get the win. The run game is going to open up a lot of things for us. I think it's going to open up a big play or two. I think Nico's going to get composed in that hostile environment and make a play. Yeah, so let's get into the throwback games I was talking about. We'll start with the one in 2002. This game went into 6, yes, you heard that right, 6 overtimes. Was ridiculous. And Casey Clausen ended up throwing a 25-yard touchdown to Jason Witten down the seam to win us that game in 6 overtimes. The Vols ended up winning that game 41-38. Instant classic in Neyland. Great game. Jason Witten, obviously one of the greatest players in Tennessee history, went on to be great in the NFL. But that is one of our. It seems like we just always I think there was a game in 2001. I might need to be fact checked on this. I think in 2001 we played in Arkansas, and it's recorded as one of the longest college football games of all time because of how long the rain delay was. So there's just a lot of history with Arkansas. But for the more important part of this episode, we're going to have our guest on here, Billy Ratliff, and in 1998, the Vols ended up winning, I think it was 28-24 against Arkansas. The stumble fumble recovered by Billy Ratliff is regarded as one of the most unforgettable and memorable plays in Tennessee football history. It really just saved our rear end. That's exactly how I'd put it. In a minute, we're going to put a clip just showing you what the play is, and then we're going to go into our interview with Billy Ratliff. So, without further ado, here's the clip.
The tailback is Shakuma. 2 receivers to the left side. As Sterner stumbles and falls, fumbles the football. It's been recovered by Tennessee at the 43-yard line. Sterner comes out of there, stumbles, lays the ball down, and Billy Ratliff is on top of it to recover at the 43-yard line. What else can happen, Bill, to Arkansas?
On that play, it was all him. He pushed the offensive lineman directly back into Clint Sterner's foot. The offensive lineman stepped on his foot. Sterner fell over, loses the ball. We recover.
What is up, everybody? Let's welcome Billy Ratliff to the From the Bench podcast, VFL legend who has one of the most memorable plays in Tennessee football history, the stumble fumble in 1998 against the Arkansas Razorbacks. I mean, you guys just saw the play, the clip I just played right before we got onto this. That play really just single-handedly saved Tennessee's national championship hopes in 1998. So, Billy, thank you for coming on here. How are you, man?
Hey, I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me on, man. It's been a
Thank
while
you.
doing these things.
Yes, sir. Thank you for coming on here. So, Billy, can you just walk us through the play and your own point of view, like in 1998, how'd it go?
Well, I mean, be honest with you, man. This game was supposed to have been easy for me, man, because this was Arkansas, and it was just another what we call back then as a stat team, man. We go out and get all our tackles for loss, guys get interception, all our touchdowns or whatever.
Yeah.
But this particular day, these guys was ready for us. And just to be honest with you, there was a guy that was across from me that I played against by the name of Brandon Bursworth. Um, our coaches already told us that he was a All-American, he was a technician, but we didn't care about that stuff. He was still play for Arkansas. We thought everybody wasn't good.
Hmm.
So this particular play, I remember we going out and our offense was actually on the field, trying to, catch up and win the game, but that didn't happen. And I remember being on the sideline and Al Wilson was chewing us out, man, because we
Yeah.
were into Arkansas, man. And,
Yeah.
you got the Reverend cursing you out and getting on your butt. I mean, you don't want that to happen because
Time to make a play.
yes, I mean, we talking about Al Wilson, man. This was my teammate, not my coach.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of my teammate, not the coach. And he was getting on us, man. And then this particular play coming off the field, T. Martin was coming off, and we're on the sideline. And to be honest, it wasn't even my time to go in. I mean, because we did a lot of rotation, and my
Yeah.
teammate named Jeff Coleman was supposed to be going in on this particular play. He cramped up right then because he was trying to get hyped up and everything, and he jumped up all of a sudden, and my name was called. Hey, you got to go in, and I'm trying to psych myself up, and
Yeah.
as I see T come off him and he's got his head down, and I'm trying to think of something to keep him hyped. Keep me hyped. And I say, hey, keep your helmet on, man. I'm about to get the ball, but I got you, baby. I got you. And I didn't even have
Yeah.
hint of a tackle before this play happened. The whole game, I didn't have an assist. I didn't have a block pass down. I didn't have
Not
anything.
nothing.
Zero stats. Ever. I mean, this guy, Brandon, he was a technician, man. He was an All-American. He was exactly what our coaches told us he was.
Yeah.
He whooped our butt the whole game.
Really.
And for some reason, man, I mean, this particular play, man, I just remember a technique that Reggie White taught us.
Oh, wow.
And we weren't supposed to do this stuff. I mean, it was kind of legal type moves and stuff, but it worked if you use it right.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, like, I'm going to try to use this move. And the only thing I'm thinking about this time is getting off the ball as fast as possible. I'm going to put my hand in his chest. I'm going to run him through the goalpost. And first down, I get off the line of scrimmage. Boom, I tackle for a loss. Oh, snaps. He's human, guys. He's
Get the
human.
blood flowing.
Yes. And I'm in my mind, I'm hyped. I got him now. I got him. Next play comes up. Got him in his chest. Bull rush him. Turn his hips. Shoulder pads turn. It's over.
Over.
Next thing you know, I'm looking down at the ground. I see the ball. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. This was slow motion, like this
Yeah,
ball was
seriously.
sitting there forever. And like most of the linebackers or DBs, they say, man, they would have picked it up and running back. I wasn't
You
thinking
just trying to get on that
that.
thing.
I'm about to jump on this ball, pick it up so nobody can get it. I'm taking it to the sideline, and it was over after then. Now our offense go out there and do what we knew they can do.
Yeah, what they should have been doing the whole game is what
Oh,
it seems like.
man. But it was one of the toughest games I ever played in my life, man.
Man, that's awesome. So that being said, what do you think? What's your prediction for this weekend's game in Fayetteville?
I think it's going to be a good game starting off. Arkansas is going to be hype. This is going to be a electric atmosphere
Seriously, yeah.
for I tell everybody this is actually our true first SEC game.
Yeah.
I don't count Oklahoma because they're new. They're new.
Yeah.
Um, this weekend, I think it's going to be electric. First started off. I think the Arkansas defense is going to come to play. And I truly think once our receivers adjust to their DBs of pressing and being able to get off the line of scrimmage,
Yeah.
I think we will be able to contain their quarterback, um, keeping them to what we usually do. I mean, under 200 yards a game.
Mm-hmm.
I think the score would end up being something like 45-17.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So you guys beating them pretty good.
Yes, I mean, I was supposed to be going this weekend, but I can't go because I got a doctor's appointment on
Oh,
Friday,
my
man.
goodness.
I'm like, gotta be kidding me.
I have a couple buddies going to the game. Yeah, I think it's kind of got the same idea as you. I think it's going to start off a little slow because you're right. Like people kind of are underestimating. I feel like Arkansas is going to have a hostile environment. They've got a good fan base. Like this is one of their bigger games in a while. Like
Yes.
like that place is going to be rocking. So I
Yeah.
think we're gonna. I mean, again, I think it's his real first SEC test for Nico. I think we're going to start off a little slow, but you're right. I think we're going to get the run game figured out. I think the run game is going to open up the play action. Our receivers are going to make plays down the field. I think my prediction, I had us covering. I think the spread's 13.5 right now. I think I had us win by like 17. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I had it somewhere around there. I think it's going to be another situation like Oklahoma where we get up about 24 and Heupel's just going to trust it because I mean I haven't seen a defense like this since I've been alive. So I think he's going to trust the defense and just start falling back on them.
Yes, this is probably the first defense we've had that I would call a defense that can compete in
Yeah,
the SEC.
yeah,
And
seriously.
see, when I tell people about competing, I mean like, we got depth now. We're three deep at every position
Yeah,
now.
seriously.
And
Because the last few years, like even the year we were really good, Hookers last year, like we were just praying like we'd score 56 and they'd score 55 because we knew we weren't stopping a soul. Like we had some good players on that team, but like we had no depth. Like, and that's what I talked about earlier on the episode. We're going to see how we fare against a dual threat quarterback because we have not fared very well against a dual threat quarterback in a while. But usually we're what it feels like is relying on four of those guys just to go play the whole game. Every snap is what it feels like. But now we're what 12 deep. Like Jason Jenkins barely plays at all, and then in Oklahoma he's the defensive player of the game. I mean he made all the plays. He had a sack. He had a safety. So I think we're gonna really see how we match up against a dual threat versus the past few years where we've been pretty good.
I can't wait, man.
I'm excited for it. Well, thank you, Billy. It's really an honor. I've heard all the stories about this play growing up, and then now I'm getting to talk to you about it. So really, thank you for coming on here and go Vols.
Yes, sir. Go Vols.
Thank you guys so much for listening to today's episode of From the Bench. It's the second episode. It's going way better than I could have ever expected it. Thank you guys so much for the support on the first episode. All the people just texting me, telling me that they think I'm doing a good job. Like you guys don't understand how much that means to me. Like I can't put it into words. It really means the world to me. Just knowing that people think I'm doing a good job, and I'm just trying to put out as the best content I can for you guys. So thank you guys for that. Another big thank you to Billy Ratliff for really taking time out of his day to come give us that cool point of view of his memorable play, like one of the most popular plays, one of the most unforgettable plays in Tennessee football history. Yeah, thank you guys so much, and go Vols on Saturday.